Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to be looking at the top 10 biggest buys for the month of February. We specifically are going to be looking at vintage comics that have sold on eBay. With that said, let's get to the list. Number 10 on the list sold on February 13th for a whopping $17,500. And we are specifically talking about Amazing Spider-Man issue number 50, the first appearance of Kingpin. This book is deemed by many people to be one of the most iconic covers out there, and it is honestly one of my personal favorites. This book is noteworthy because it is also the only CBCS book that is on the list. This gorgeous CBCS 9.6 with white pages was sold on eBay as a buy it now, again on February 13th. Number 9 on the list is Fantastic Four issue number 1. And this book, as many people know, is the first appearance of Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. This book was sold on February 28th for $20,000, which is roughly $5,000 less than its asking price. This book is noteworthy because it is a CGC 4.0 Stan Lee Signature Series book. This copy is also one of 14 total Yellow Label 4.0s on the CGC census, and it should also be mentioned that there are 39 higher graded Yellow Labels of Fantastic Four on the CGC list. Number 8 on the list is honestly my personal favorite, and we are talking about Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Peter Parker, aka Spiderman. And this book sold on February 23rd for $21,000. And this book was a CGC 3.0 with cream pages that was sold as a buy it now. And I want to highlight here that there are roughly 3,400 total copies of this book on the CGC census. Number 7 on the list is Incredible Hulk issue number 1, the first appearance of Incredible Hulk. And this book actually sold for less than its asking price at roughly $30,000 on February 8th. The book, in fact, sold for $21,550. It is a CGC 5.0 Yellow Label signed by Stan Lee as and make an offer now. And I also want to highlight here that this is one of 10 total 5.0 Yellow Labels on the CGC census, and there are only 15 additional graded copies on the census as well. Number 6 on the list is one copy of several copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 1 that is on the list. This book unfortunately sold for less than its $35,000 asking price on September the 1st. It sold, in fact, for $23,000. And I want to point out here that this book is a first print CGC 9.0 Yellow Label that was signed and sketched by Kevin Eastman. It was also sold as a make an offer. Number 5 on the list is Marvel Mystery Comics Annual. There is no number for this book. It is just an annual comic. And this book sold in early February for $25,000. This book, a CGC 3.5 with off-white pages, is a scarce Golden Age Human Torch World War II cover that was sold as a buy it now. Number 4 on the list is Fantastic Four issue number 48. This is an incredibly popular book because it is the first appearance of Silver Surfer and also Galactus. This copy sold on February 16th for $26,500 at a CGC 9.6 with white pages. Now, what's interesting about this book is that there are actually a healthy number of copies of this book on the CGC database. And I say that because when you dig into the numbers, what you see is that there are roughly 96 copies of this book at a 9.6. There are also 39 copies of this book at a 9.8. That's a lot. That is a lot for a Silver Age book, and just one of those interesting data points that we wanted to throw out there. As I mentioned earlier in this video, number 3 on the list is another copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 1. And this book sold on February 7th for $27,000 versus a list price of $30,000. And this book was a CGC 9.2 with white pages that was sold as make an offer. And again, just a super popular book that is incredibly hot right now. So many things associated with Kevin Eastman and the Turtles is just really, really hot. And that is a reflection of why there are 3 copies of this book on the list. That actually brings me to the second book on the list, another copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 1. And there is something special going on with this book, so I definitely want to encourage you to stay tuned for this. But this book sold again on February 7th, the same as the third book on the list, but it sold for $35,900. And you might be wondering why it sold for that much more. It was a 9.4. Blue label, but it was also signed and sketched on by Kevin Eastman inside the front cover. So it had a little something extra that was going on with it. But this was actually an open bid, and this was just a straight auction for this book. And in fact, there were 51 bidders that basically drove the price up to that $35,900 mark, and definitely a high watermark for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 1. So a lot of people are probably wondering, what is the number 1 vintage book that was sold in February? Well, wait no more, because it is none other than Fantastic Four issue number 5, the first appearance of Victor Von Doom. People are super excited about this character, and they believe that he is going to be the next big bad in the MCU, and for that reason, it is driving the price up of all of his associated keys, and that is probably why this book sits atop of our list. This book sold on February 25th for a whopping $39,777. This copy was a CGC 8.5 that was sold as a buy it now. It's also important here to mention that there are 17 copies of an 8.5 on the CGC census, but there are also 3 copies of a 9.6 on the census as well. So there you have it. We have reached the end of our very first top 10 big money buys for vintage books derived specifically from eBay. And I want to give a huge shout out to Doug Bratton, who worked to compile this data and allowed me to do this video. Hats off to you, sir. I absolutely appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, I certainly want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button and to leave your comments behind. If there is enough support for this video, we will continue to do it into the future. So I definitely look forward to hearing your thoughts.